Hi guys, Marcia here. It's been a while since we've done one of these, hasn't it? I, for one, am glad to be back. This one is for those of you in the community who have been dreading the painting part of the hobby. The truth is, many people print minis because they want to play RPGs. And if the minis came fully colored, that would be even better. However, having a host of colorless monsters fight a party of colorless heroes doesn't really set the scene for a colorful encounter, does it? Well, that's changed today. There are different and more beginner-friendly ways to go about the whole painting thing. And I promise you guys that painting doesn't have to be as daunting as it usually seems. Painting in an easier, faster, and simpler way without compromising too much on the final result. This is what we are doing on today's painting tutorial here at Loot. Today, we're going to talk about a technique people are calling slab chop. In this technique, you use black or gray as primer, apply some zenithal highlighting with an airbrush or dry brush, then directly apply a layer of an extremely translucent paint. Among other things, this technique allows us to quickly cover the model. That allows the paint to flow into the cracks and the crevices of the mini, just like with a wash, naturally creating areas of light and shade. The whole process becomes much faster, leaving you with a beautiful and ready-to-play mini. Some people using slab chop recently in YouTube have mentioned it being inspired on Grisaille, a classical painting technique from traditional canvas, wall, and stained glass paintings. This approach uses shades of gray in underpainting to create volume, using translucent paints on top to bring in the colors. We have a few options of paints to use with this technique. Speed paint from the Army Painter, contrast paints from Games Workshop, or instant colors from Scale 75. I don't have them all to give you guys a feedback about each one, but I would recommend you to check out some review videos on YouTube, because a lot of people are testing different brands. From what I've seen, they are all quite similar, and it may boil down to personal preferences. Brent from Gubertown Hobbies has recently put out a couple of videos on slab chop, including doing his own painting mixes. Make sure to check it out. Now, let's practice by painting some minis from this month's bundle, Tenebris Infested. Part 1 Primer. This will be the only moment I will use the airbrush. Everything else will be painted with a regular brush, so you all can keep on track. If you don't have an airbrush, don't worry. Just apply your primer with a regular brush or spray. Right now, it is important to use a dark gray or black primer to follow the technique properly. Part 2. Dry brush with medium shade. Complementing this technique, we are painting with dry brush and a light color. After getting a small amount of paint, remove the excess, leaving your brush close to dry. If you apply the paint correctly, the color will stick to the edges, leaving the deepest areas with the dark primer. I've split the models in a few groups, shades of purple, shades of brown, and white. I chose these colors to create a different base and make different characters, but you can use only gray and white if you like. In all groups, we will have distinctive results. More or less contrast, more or less saturated colors, a soft or sharp transition, and so on. Brent also posted a comparative video showing the result of a slab chop using white dry brush over black primer, with light gray as a medium shade, and using zenithal primer with airbrush. I found his content really helpful. Part 3. Dry brush with lighter shades or white. Now I'm going to apply dry brush one last time using a lighter shade and a drier brush than before. I'm using a makeup brush with very soft bristles. I think it gives a softer effect on the painting. Part 4. Applying color. Since I only have a few options of instant color paints, I will use inks as well. They are diluted paints, which means they will complement the quick painting effect with volume, without the need for several layers and transitions. The downside is that, because this ink I'm using is not as translucent, my painting will probably turn out a little darker. Here are some things I learned during the process. You can dilute the instant colors to control the intensity of covering. You can apply more than one layer to intensify the color and make it darker in some areas. You can keep on painting and add more light and more details. That's not the point of slap chop, but still, even if you paint a little more, it will be quicker than if you used other techniques. Part 5. Poison effect. Now I intend to create more details, highlighting areas with a color that reminds us of poison. In order to do that, I'm going to use regular acrylic paint and this intense green ink. I start by applying white in the areas I want to highlight with poison, because the white is going to make the green pop out and draw attention. I'm doing this in every model. To highlight the poison effect, I will apply a resin that dries under UV light. This makes the poison really shiny and brings a texture of viscosity and mucus to the whole thing. One part, beautiful. 2 parts, disgusting. That's it, guys. I hope you like it. See you in the next one. Bye bye.